All right, let's get more on China's express delivery industry with Rebecca Fannin. She joins us from San Francisco. She's the founder and editor of Silicon Dragon News. Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Rebecca, express delivery service is a big business in China. In 2014, China overtook the US to become the world's largest express delivery country for the first time in terms of workload. And the industry is continuing to maintain that growth trend. What is driving this, Rebecca? Is it all about the surge in e-commerce?
It certainly is. It's about the consumer shopping experience online and how these private companies like JD and SF Express are getting into the delivery service business as an extension of their business to consumer e-commerce sites. JD delivery trucks are all over the major cities, and JD.com is already in 44 cities nationwide in China, with a huge number of warehouses that it owns as well. So it's all part of the online experience, the Internet Plus in China.
Well, Rebecca, to your point, the e-commerce giants like Alibaba, like JD.com, do have their own delivery services. Is this trend likely to continue with other online retailers?
Oh yes, I think so. I think what we're seeing is these giant technology companies from China are getting into extended services as part of their whole platform. And it makes sense for them to extend that way and have their own brand name. So I think we're going to continue to see this trend going forward.
In terms of independent contractors, who are the private companies dominating the space that are not linked to the online retailers?
Well, there's SF Express, which is also huge, and it's not linked to an online retailer. But you know, the interesting thing about this whole growth of this market is how different it is from just 6 to 7 years ago. When eBay first entered China, what happened is consumers would meet one another in the street and exchange cash. It was the only way to have these transactions. And now these vans come and they do mobile payments. It's all very seamless and very fast. So it's completely different in just about 6 years.
Definitely a rapidly changing landscape. How are the foreign companies like FedEx or DHL competing in that market? Were they too late to get onto that train?
I think it's tough for the overseas competitors to get in now. JD has an unbelievably huge market share in China, and it's very difficult for overseas companies to come in and penetrate that and really figure out what the local strategy is that works. I think we've seen that time and time again with American brands going into China. So I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Well, Rebecca, given that a lot of these e-commerce giants are expanding into rural areas, is the infrastructure keeping up? What are the main challenges to growth?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that when you travel in China is it's amazing to see the growth and the expansion of the high-speed rail and the modern freeways throughout China. And I think that this is one of the reasons that we're seeing this area, this whole delivery service market take off, is because the infrastructure is there and it's very modern. They didn't have to start with something and then reconstruct it. It was all brand new. So China's ahead because of that.
So what is the government doing to further facilitate the express delivery industry?
I think the government is really pushing technology advances and innovation. So the government is behind that. The government's also behind all the infrastructure that's going on, the infrastructure building that's the backbone of this business. So without that, you wouldn't have this hyper-speed delivery service. So the government is definitely pushing it.
So how do you see the express delivery sector evolving over the next 5 years, especially as the economy continues to transition to a consumer-based one?
Well, I think we're going to start to see drone deliveries, where they're already made in China drone companies. So I think the next wave would be to have drone deliveries, which will be a great plus because it would get around the huge traffic jams that you're seeing in the major cities in China.